최근 미국이 중국 틱톡 금지령을 내리며 중국의 내로남불 태도가 전 세계에서 비판받고 있습니다. 틱톡은 미국에서 나온 틱톡 금지 법안이 표현의 자유를 침해한다고 주장했지만 경솔하고 이기적이라는 비판을 피하기 어려워 보입니다. 중국에서는 구글은 물론 페이스북, 트위터, 인스타그램, 유튜브, 넷플릭스, 위키피디아, 주요 외신 사이트 등 유명 플랫폼에 모든 접속이 막혀 있습니다. 중국 공산당이 세뇌를 시키는데 불리한 외부 정보가 유입될 가능성을 원천 차단한 것인데요. 중국은 만리방화벽이라 불리는 인터넷 감시 시스템을 통해 접속을 막고 있습니다. 하지만 중국인들은 불법적인 경로로 한국 유료 드라마를 훔쳐보고 온라인상의 품평을 대놓고 남기기도 합니다. 그러면서도 중국은 꼭 자신들이 불리할 때만 표현의 자유를 주장하고 있는데요. 이런 가운데 펜실베니아 주립대 샘 리처드 교수는 미국과 한국에 있는 표현의 자유에 대해 강의합니다. 한국 학생들과 비교해 중국 학생들은 얼마나 많은 억압을 받으며 살아가는지 강의 내용을 함께 보시죠.
This one's about TikTok and what you were talking about with the government earlier. I know nothing about this really, but I heard this on a podcast, so this might not be reliable information, but they were saying that for the youth in the US, I don't believe this, by the way, but I know nothing about it. It's kind of like brainwashing or not helping with like our children's socialization, and they're not doing as well with that. But then over in China, it's content locked so that it's an educational tool for younger people. Is there any truth in that, or is that just an urban legend?
Dude, that's a really good question. First off, that's a great question. When we think about how TikTok is really bad for the socialization of our kids, which I find really curious. I would agree that in different ways that's true. And I think there are different ways in which, boy, if I were a parent, I'd be locking my kid down on what they were doing on the apps. Is TikTok locked down? Like, can anybody, do you have any idea? Like, is it more, do you feel like it's more educational, or is it the same kind of?
I think it's pretty similar to the US. Like, there are pros and cons for that. Some message that you saw on that is controlled by government, and actually a lot of media in China is controlled by the government. So basically what they're showing you is what they want you to know. So
But let me go back on this. Let me push back on that a little bit, okay? But you also don't get you don't get vulgarity, and you don't get a lot of stuff that's vulgar. And I mean, there are other things that you don't get, right?
yeah, so there are pros for that too. I think
You're like writing comments on a video or on something, and the comments are really vulgar. Those could easily get taken down.
yeah,
So when you're on your phones, how much are you thinking about the Chinese government watching or someone observing or reading what you're writing? How much do you think about that?
personally I don't worry about that much. Yeah, it's just
What do you mean you don't worry about it?
I feel like it's because I didn't did anything bad on the internet.
Yeah.
I'm not worried about anyone catching me or like, yeah.
Like, you don't need to say things that are really vulgar or against the government or whatever.
Yeah, I don't like put comments on the internet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Listen, Americans who really have this idea that you love your free speech, and Korea, we're going to talk about Korea in a second. Americans who really love their free speech, and they want to be able to say anything they want to say, so they can say something about Biden or Trump or me or the president of Penn State or whatever they want to say. It doesn't really matter. But like, you're just speaking into the wind anyway. Like, what's the point? Like, who cares what you have to think?
I mean, I just talk that with my friends. I won't talk that on the internet.
Yeah,
I feel like I don't know why I would talk to people I don't know.
Well, there's something really surprised me in the United States, which is that you can't even put comments under the president, the Instagram.
Yeah.
It's really, wow, it's really surprising me a lot.
Yeah, but you have to, yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's really, Yeah, I can't just imagine that. How dare can I put commerce under president?
Yeah.
Or especially something bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who cares? What's wrong? Do you guys think about that? Like, how is censorship in Korea? I feel like Koreans, let me just say this, actually. You guys are, remember the last class I was talking, like, you guys are all like so polite anyway. Do you get into like arguments on Korean social media platforms with people?
I saw a lot of people arguing on social media. Like, for example, YouTube comments or news comments.
Yeah.
Like, they argue about their belief or political belief or their idea, but it always gets aggressive.
It does get
Yeah.
Yeah.
So-
no, I'm kind of making a joke about, I mean, you are very polite, but the politeness ends on the comments, right? I see that.
Yeah.
Do you think about censorship at all in Korea?
There is some kind of censorship related to like harmful contents or like porns or something like that.
Yeah.
But mostly in common situation, there's no censorship.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you can go. Haley, do you think about when you're on social media and you're making comments and stuff, are you thinking about how much are you thinking about what other people are reading?
I think that like people were gonna look through the comments, so I never comment on any videos.
So you're thinking
Yeah.
about when like Koreans are very focused on what other people are thinking. So when you remember we had that conversation in class, so when you're making comments on your phone, you must be thinking about what every other Korean is going to think about the comment that you make.
Right. But I think that's kind of like, I don't know, like I don't want to say this, but East Asian people thing, because we care about like a lot, like how other people were gonna see me. That's the reason why, like, do you remember you said like about the COVID stuff,
Yeah.
like why people wearing the mask?
Yeah.
That's like because you said like Koreans are like caring about like the community, not just by themselves. But that's the evidence of that, like we are carrying other people's like, views. So we don't want it to get like kind of just like, different with others like in the community.
Like really engaged at that level.
Right.
지금까지 꿀튜브였습니다. 오늘 영상이 도움되셨다면 구독과 좋아요 부탁드리고요. 앞으로도 꿀튜브 채널에 많은 관심 부탁드립니다. 감사합니다.